Hey everybody, Edo here, and I'm super excited to talk to you about Monsters and Minions, or Role Player Monsters and Minions, which is live on Kickstarter now. It is by Keith Mateja, Thunderworks Games, the guy who brought us Role Player. If you haven't played, seen, checked out Role Player, this game is outstanding. I'll link the video in the description of my review of this game. It is, without a doubt, one of my favorite games from last year. Hands down. It is outstanding, worth getting, and I believe sold out everywhere. So one of the things in this Kickstarter is getting this game. Highly recommend this game. And Monsters and Minions is fantastic too. I was shocked by this game. I'll talk about that quickly. First, one other disclosure. I have worked with Keith. He did the single-player version of Herbaceous with Dr. Finn and me, and also has done some other design or doing some other design work with me. So, having said that, wow. So, Role Player. Check out the review. Great. You're creating a character by rolling dice, and there's a big giant dice bag. It's a dice placement manipulation game. Plays quick, fun, great, fantastic, awesome. This is the Monsters and Minion expansion. And here's the thing. I'm opening the box. This is a prototype. Looking at the components. These big dice, small dice, XP tokens, pop out things, cards. I'm like, oh no! Oh no! Keith, what have you done? You've taken this incredible, elegant, wonderful, masterful game, and look at all this stuff you've added to it. What have you done? You did not need to add all this stuff to me. What? Come on, man. That really was my reaction. But whatever. Checking it out and reading and learning how to play, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I see how that works. I see how this works. Oh, and it fits in this way? Okay, I sort of get it. Man, and then I played. Keith nailed it. He nailed it like he nailed Role Player. It seems like there's more being added, but it's done so well and so completely and utterly tied into the dynamics of the original game so well. It's smooth, it's elegant, it's incredible, and it has tons of replay value. I was blown away. I can't think of any time so much has added to a game, but in such a way that it just slides in and works and feels awesome. I mean, it is well done. Briefly, get some extra. I think there's going to be 2 more character boards, male, female sides, all that good stuff. He added in some more classes, and I don't know about backstory, but some more alignment stuff, and it fits into the different mechanics. There are these new phantom dice, whatever dice they are. They start at 3 and go up to 8 or 9. I guess it would be 9. Who knew you could have a D6 that started at a higher number than 1? But they're colorless, so if you're familiar with Role Player, that means you can get better values, but obviously you don't have the benefit or the scoring value from them. The normal, and these are sort of standalone. They come up a little bit in different places, but they sort of work in that way. And then you have all of these things around the Monsters and Minions. And so what you're going to do in this game is you're going to get a boss, and he's got all these great bosses, and he has them leveled out for single player and double play, more than 2 players and more than 1 player. And you're going to pick one monster, and they all have their ability, and you're working against it. And then you're going to get all these obstacles, and there's a huge deck of these, and each monster has to have an obstacle, a location, and an attack. This is hidden information that the players don't know, which they can learn if they choose to, which will make beating the monster easier. Monsters just turn into victory points at the end. So essentially the way this is woven in is it's exactly Role Player, but when you get to the market phase, rather than buying something, you can go on a hunt, fight some minions to learn and power up or build up for the boss. And then at the end of the game, everyone goes fights the boss, and that boss can give you some extra victory points, or a lot of victory points, so it's significant. The thing is, in the original game, if you didn't like what was in the market, you just discarded a market card, usually to sort of thwart another player, and you got its gold. And it works and it's great and it's elegant, but looking back, it's like, what a crappy decision that was in the original game compared to what it's become. Now, if you don't like what's in the market, or you do but don't want to go there, you can go on this hunt, which is this totally different thing, but is awesome, and it opens up the game. He layers in new, you have new items in the market. There's a scroll type, which is an instant magic that happens, and then a whole bunch of other additional armor and weapons and traits and skills and all those things as well. But the way it works is if you go on that hunt, you basically are trying to learn those 3 things about the boss. And what they do, the things they do, give you more dice and more advantages when you fight the boss. So you find out that the Chimera has acid breath. All players who meet their intelligence attribute goal gain 3 combat dice. So first, you might be the only player that knows it, or only some players might know that. But then intelligence and getting intelligence is really important. You might not have, that might have been one you were dropping before on say, an orc or something, but now suddenly it matters. And knowing that's a big deal. 3 combat dice is great. But you're going to actually go on, when you go on a hunt, you face a minion. Minions are little creatures, zombies, kobolds, goblins, and they all basically have values that you're going to roll against, and you can earn stuff from them. You can also take damage, but you're going to reveal one, and this is a one-on-one. As a player, it's on your turn. You automatically get 1 die, and then you can have to roll against this creature, and then you can have additional dice based on what it says. So +1 combat die for every 3 gold you have. So if I had a lot of money, I'd get some extras. And then you can also use these experience cubes to buy more dice and some money for mercenaries and that kind of thing. But if you don't want to face this guy, you can pay a couple gold and cycle through and find somebody else who maybe matches your dice or manipulation. Anyway, you roll, and based on how you do, you get experience. You might get hurt. You might get some money. You might get some renown, which applies at the end versus the monster. And if you just barely tap him, he gets put at the bottom of the deck. But if you kill him, you get to look at one of those obstacles. And if you want, once you've looked at all 3, you then suddenly get some bonus XP when you kill him. But so here's why it works. I mean, again, I'm not pulling out the whole game and explaining everything, but the reason it works is there was this, for a fantastic, fantastic, fantastic game, there was this sort of lame decision. This sort of moment where you're like, I don't want anything in the market, so I guess I'm just going to pass and earn some money. And it was a tight enough game that, that decision was a big deal, and what you did and how much money you got and all that stuff. So it works. It's a great game. But he took that moment, and instead of that decision, you have this other decision to go on this hunt, and building it out plays on all of the things that you're doing in the normal game, your skills, everything you're doing applies to the different obstacles. They might help you win the minions. So suddenly who you are and your character and your traits and these things you're building apply to this big battle. And it's fun and it's satisfying and it's something you want to do, and you feel like you can play all different ways. And then he loosens the game up a little bit. Where it was a pretty tight game, he loosens it up just enough that now you sort of feel like you're making some big characters with cool abilities and you're getting more maxed out, but you need to do it against what's happening with the minions and the boss and whoever you're fighting and the Kraken and that kind of thing. And the way these cards play in makes it feel different and unique each time you play. It scales well. Home run on an expansion. Home run. So get Role Player. If you haven't gotten Role Player, get it. Get the expansion if you do have it. I really think it adds a lot. Would I play, is it an expansion always? No. I think that the expansion adds about 10 or 15 minutes. Not that big of a deal, but it does. And I think most of the time I play without the expansion first, get people to play this awesome game, and then immediately add it in. I think it works. But I do think in terms of an entry level, there is more to explain here, especially with all the chits, but it is woven in well. So, check it out, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Most importantly, play some great games. Thanks.